Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, September 13th, 2021. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Monday, everyone. Great to see you all. Here's a look at the ES right now in the daily time frame. Obviously, we had some selling pressure on Friday. When price was like this in the pre-market video on Friday, price was sitting right there at the or just shy of the previous session's midpoint, and I mentioned we could be looking at a sell morning strength type of session here, which meant that this early strength could have been sold for weakness to come, and it really sold off here late in the day, especially following the YM and RTY. All of them sold off. Again, this one right here is doing the same thing here today. So we've seen a rejection right around midnight. Overnight trading, we saw a rejection at the previous low, and we've now returned back toward the previous session's midpoint. That previous session's midpoint is 78.25, and right now we're trading 74.5. So any push into that zone could be seen as a selling opportunity given the current downtrending market. Bulls need to overcome that level and stay beyond that level in order to lead to a further strength up ahead. The overnight rejection at the previous session's low was pretty significant. The rejection of the low and the previous close fairly strong there, but at the same time coming into the previous session's mid in a downtrending market where day over day we're seeing lower highs and lower lows. We could be looking at another round of weakness to come up ahead. So keep an eye on this previous session's midpoint for signs of further directional conviction. Now overall, we do have a pullback that has occurred right back toward the mid, as we talked about during the monthly market outlook for September. Now, when are we going to get that major rejection? As soon as we can get that significant rejection of some sort here, that's when we could see a swing buy opportunity over the next 1 to 3 weeks until proven otherwise. All right, let's take a look here at the NQ. You'll see the NQ here had developed a very narrow 8-day range for much of the day and then broke that range to the downside late Friday. There's the break right there. It ended up being a narrow 7-day range with a downside break, and now you can see again a failed new low here overnight, and prices back toward the previous session's midpoint, just shy of it. The previous session's midpoint is 15,542s. And again, any test into that zone could be seen as a selling opportunity for another round of weakness up ahead. If bulls are able to overcome that level and close beyond it by the end of the day, much like the ES, then we could be due for another bounce up ahead right away. So keep an eye on that midpoint again, 15,542. Against the ES and YM and some of the others, the NQ could stand to see a bit more of a pullback. This one has only just begun. Basically 1 day of selling pressure last week. Otherwise, it's been mostly range bound here. At some point, that major compression will lead to significant range expansion. So if this is the first push down and it's going to be a failure to the downside, then we might have a 600-point move coming off that pivot low. And if that pivot low is going to be 15.4, then 16K would be that upside swing target over the next 1 to 3 weeks. All right, let's take a look now at crude oil. Right now, crude oil is up 1.25%. This one also developing a very narrow range. This is a almost a 3-week narrow range that's developed, and it's still kind of in play right now. We've talked about the 70 level and how significant that level has been as kind of a pivot. The 70.25 level, 70.27. That's the midpoint of the key range. So it's right in this major area of the chart. It's also at that upper trend line we've been tracking, which comes across, let's grab this right here, that one. So it comes across these highs like this. And you can see that we're now through it with today's price action and the overnight price action as price continues to hold above the previous session's high and close. So right now 70 is kind of that key level to continue to watch. Doesn't mean that price will stay above there by the end of the day. we could easily close back below 70 and look something like this, or some sort of other kind of tail. So 70 is going to be the key level. Can it hold above 70 early this week? If so, we may begin our return back to the previous quarter's close, back towards 73, 74. If there's a rejection of this zone early this week, we may be headed back toward the bottom end of the range, which is 67. So right now, 70 and 67, the key levels to watch for crude oil. Taking a look lastly at gold futures, very narrow range for gold right now, 50% of ADR, just 11 points of range. This one had a hard rejection off the 1835 to 1840 zone, and ever since that rejection, it's been holding at these lows within a narrow 3, now developing 4-day range. The idea is that further weakness could be seen toward the 1760 zone, in which case we likely see this thing bounce back up and remain within this range. So right now, very narrow price action for gold, not a lot of movement here, but we could be looking at a little bit more downside before the next bounce occurs. All right, that is it for now. We'll see how this plays out heading into the rest of the week. Good luck, trade well, and I'll see you in the trading room. Take care.